After impulsively purchasing one of the most in-demand cameras ever, I took it with me to its birthplace. This camera was such a good picture-taking machine, and the video on it was amazing too. I had it around my neck the entire trip and shot genuinely some of my favorite images on that camera. Room tour. The goal of my trip was to primarily experience the country and get a feel for it while taking images and photos here and there. Everything that I shot was either on my phone or my Fuji. The Fujifilm X106 is one of the most hyped up cameras I've ever seen because it was so fun to use. It made fantastic images and it was so good looking. When you're in Japan, everything feels so intentional and handcrafted, from the way you dress to how you eat. There was so much appreciation for design and function, and it was no surprise that this beautiful device came from such a magical place. Japan quickly became one of my favorite places on earth, and this Fujifilm quickly became one of my favorite cameras I've ever owned. But when I came back, a cold reality had replaced the rush of getting this new toy. Something I was neglecting had finally caught up to me. Because this camera was so new and so elusive, it was sold out everywhere. I had to pay a premium in order to get access to it. With a wedding on the way and other life goals in mind, I realized I couldn't afford to keep this camera. I went back and forth every night debating on if what I did was an adolescent mistake or calculated adulting. I had pretty much given up on ever experiencing that high again anytime soon, but what's funny about photography and what's funny about life is the moment you stop looking, something happens. And something did happen. In my many months of regret, it led me to a discovery which allowed me to find my new favorite camera, the Fujifilm X100F. It's not flashy, it's not the latest or greatest. It came out 6, 7, 8 years ago. The video is worse, the autofocus is slower, but it looks nearly identical to the one that I had to give up, and it has that same magic sauce in it that the other one had. It makes me want to take photos. Not for work, not for clients, not for likes, just for me. In using this older camera, there are a lot of things that feel lesser compared to its newer model. The glass gets fuzzy at f2, but the blur feels human. The viewfinder lets me see the world as I see it, or the world as the camera sees it. Sometimes I flick between them just to remember that both are real. And then there's the look, the way that it rests on my chest like a camera from an era before pocket computers. As much as I love it as a tool, I also love it as an accessory. Even when my teachers would disagree. Maybe they're right, but I find joy in having a tool that looks as beautiful as the images that it crafts. The truth is, having this camera doesn't make my work any better, but it makes me shoot more. And the more that I shoot, the closer that I get to becoming the artist that I want to be. So let's talk about the specs. 24.3 megapixels, 23mm fixed lens on an APS-C sensor. Everything you shoot in this camera is 35mm. You can't take the lens off. The video on this camera is bad. Bad as in it caps out at 1080p 60 frames a second. Your phone most likely records better quality these days. It weighs at 469 grams, no Bluetooth, no USB charging, only micro USB. And all of these things are perfectly fine for me. I already have a great professional camera, and on gigs that I'm running, I'm gonna use that one for my photo and video work. So what's the point of spending all of this money on a camera when it's not even the latest or greatest? The first reason is that it is so valuable to have a dedicated picture taking device on you. When you have a phone with you 24/7, it can take great images, but it's not a dedicated camera. It's the best possible camera for also being a slim pocket-fitting supercomputer and communication device. Having a dedicated tool for photo taking is like bringing an iPod and a pair of wired headphones with you. You're gonna listen to music more intentionally because you brought that form factor, and the same goes for photos. The second reason this camera is so valuable is that on the opposite side of phone cameras, you have the really big mirrorless or DSLR cameras. It's not as easy to bring these big, obtrusive devices to the supermarket around your neck or in your hands, and this tool offers a nice in-between. And whether you have this device or the Fujifilm X100VI, the intentionality paired with the convenient form factor that this camera offers means that you're gonna be taking more photos and being more intentional with your image crafting. So how are the photos themselves? This camera has a fixed lens that opens up to an aperture of f2. Full disclosure, it can get pretty fuzzy at this setting, and the autofocus in general is really slow. I'm partly spoiled since I came from the X100VI, where it was snappy and tack sharp, so I might notice it more than the average user, but because of this, I tend to gravitate towards f2.8 and have my focus set to autofocus single instead of continuous. The built-in ND filter is a really nice touch because it basically gives your camera a pair of built-in sunglasses, which makes it easier to shoot in bright conditions outside or with lots and lots of light. The best part about this camera is how gorgeous it looks. Having a camera that has a visually similar style to the classic film cameras while still being digital and looking iconic makes me proud to have this around my neck. And to double down on the hypocrisy, I spent probably an embarrassing amount of money just on this lens hood alone. It's a $78 piece of metal that really doesn't do anything useful. This is purely for aesthetics. It also prevents me from being able to put my camera in my pocket because it's a lot more bulky, but this is a feature that I controversially like. I want this around my neck or in my hand so that I can take pictures at a moment's notice. I don't want it in my pocket or in a bag and to fumble around just to shoot a photo. I want to be able to capture the moment. One real downside of the lens hood is that even though it looks gorgeous, it does slightly disrupt the spray of the flash, but even so, I was wildly impressed by the quality of the flash. For me, it's a fair trade to have a slight blockage, and if I really want to shoot flash work, I'll just bring my external one. So why do I love Fujifilm and why do I love the X100F? This camera is a testament to having a picture-taking device in a small form factor and why it can be so valuable even if you don't have the latest or greatest specs. Is the Fujifilm X100VI a better camera? Wholeheartedly, yeah, and I miss having it. But should you blow 2 bands on that, especially if you are a mere mortal? Probably not, unless it's your dream camera. The hype around these things is real. They perform amazingly and they are so much fun to use. Having this camera won't make you an instantly better photographer, but it will make you more intentional with your photo taking. And the more photos that you take, the better you will get. At the end of the day, these things are tools. Losing the X100VI and finding my way to the X100F taught me to appreciate what I have and fall in love with the craft of storytelling. In school, they taught us that the best camera isn't the latest or greatest, the best camera is the one you have. Fujifilm taught me to make sure the one I have makes me love photography.